Hi everyone, very excited for our first video covering a retirement account. If you want to learn more about building wealth, then please subscribe to our channel. Make sure to check the description for this video because we may include supplemental information there. So today we'll be going over the 401k, but before that a little housekeeping. The content contained in this channel is not intended to be financial advice. I am not a certified financial planner. The content is meant to be educational, is based on my personal research into these subjects presented, and contains my personal opinions as they apply to certain situations. Your situation may differ, and please do your own due diligence. So our videos will be following a format where we provide the main objective, go through some details of the account, and provide some hypothetical situations to illustrate the concepts. We'll finally wrap up with some final thoughts. For a 401k account, our main objective is to save for retirement. So what is a 401k? Generally, there are two types, a traditional and Roth 401k. Not all companies offer the Roth version, but it is becoming more popular recently. In a traditional 401k, you're funding the account with pre-tax dollars. What that means is that you're not paying taxes on the amount that you're contributing now. There may be an amount that your employer has determined that they'll match as well. The account grows tax-free, and we'll get into that later on in the video. Qualified withdrawals from a 401k are taxed as ordinary income. There's also the Roth 401k that is funded by post-tax dollars, and what that means is you have already paid taxes on your contributions. As with the traditional 401k, there may be an employer match, but that would be with pre-tax dollars designated to a traditional 401k. When we refer to Roth 401ks in the rest of this video, we're only referring to your contributions and the gains from those contributions. The Roth 401k also grows tax-free, but an advantage is that qualified withdrawals are tax-free. There are restrictions to a 401k, and first we'll go over restrictions to the contributions. There are annual contribution limits. In 2024, that limit is $23,000 for the employee or your contribution. However, there's an additional catch-up contribution of $7,500 if you are 50 years of age or older, making a total annual contribution limit of $30,500. There is also an employer and employee combined contribution limit of $69,000. If you ever run into this problem, I would say it's a good one to have. There are restrictions to withdrawals made from a 401k account. First, penalty-free withdrawals cannot be made until you have reached 59 and a half years of age. For both the traditional and the Roth 401k, there is a penalty of 10% if you make a withdrawal before you are 59 and a half years of age. There are certain exceptions to avoid the penalty, such as court-ordered spousal or child support, if the withdrawal is for a qualified birth or adoption expense, if you have a terminal illness, but we won't go into the details of these since we're covering the basics of 401k. Regardless, you will still need to pay normal income tax on withdrawals that are not designated to a Roth 401k. So why would we want to use a 401k to build wealth? Well, let's go over the pros first. Employer match would be free money for retirement. At the Commonwealth, we always contribute at least the amount required to maximize your employer match before we consider any other investments. In a way, you can think of it as like an instant return on your investment. Contributions to a traditional 401k are pre-tax dollars that reduce your current tax liability. So if you're in a higher marginal tax bracket now, expect to be in a lower one during retirement, then it would make sense to contribute to a traditional 401k. We'll illustrate that in one of our hypothetical situations later on in the video. 401ks grow tax-free, so any dividends you receive from funds or any realized gains you make from selling a fund in your 401k are not taxed as long as you don't make a withdrawal. Specifically for the Roth version, qualified withdrawals are not taxed. Your contributions have already been taxed, and there are potential advantages to a Roth 401k depending on your situation. While there are pros to a 401k, there are cons as well. The first one is that withdrawals made before you are 59 and a half years of age are subject to tax and penalty. This includes contributions that you made to the account. We mentioned earlier that there are some exceptions, but under normal circumstances, your money is somewhat locked in. There are 401k loans, but we won't be going into these because we don't generally recommend them. The Roth IRA is an account that's a bit more flexible in this aspect, and we'll cover that in another video. Withdrawals made after you are 59 and a half years of age are taxed as ordinary income for a traditional 401k. This could be a pro though, depending on your situation, but it will be a con if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket during retirement. Investment options that are available in a 401k are generally limited. The options are usually the provider's funds. For example, if your 401k provider is Fidelity, then your options are likely limited to specific Fidelity funds. This could be a disadvantage if you're wanting to invest in, say, individual corporate bonds or a stock that's, wouldn't be an option in a 401k. Another con is that 401k accounts have required minimum distributions, or RMDs, and these start when you're 73 years of age. The IRS has not collected taxes on this money, and the RMD is like a time limit for them to start collecting. In 2024, there are no longer RMDs for the portion designated to the Roth 401k, but you'll still be required to make the 2023 RMD. Additionally, it's a bit more complicated to pass on a 401k as an inheritance than other accounts. So let's go through some hypothetical situations. We'll be going over 3 cases. Situation 1 is Kate, who is early in her career and in a lower tax bracket. She expects to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement. Situation 2 is Joseph, who is in the middle of his career and is expecting to be in the same tax bracket in retirement. Finally, we have Amy, who is in the later stage of her career and expects to be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. These situations are a bit simplified because we're trying to show how the traditional and Roth IRA may work for each person. We assume that their employer does not provide an employer match and that there is no change in their contribution to simplify things. We are also going to assume that the marginal tax rate will be applied to these accounts. Putting some numbers to the name, Kate is 22 years of age and has a marginal tax rate of 12%. She is expecting to retire at 65 years of age in the 22% marginal tax rate. She has $3,000 in pre-tax funds available to contribute each year, and we're going to assume a compounded annual growth rate of 7%. The compounded annual growth rate of the S&P 500 over the last 100 years was about 10.5%. We like to be a bit conservative here, so we're going to go with 7%. And if it turns out to be higher, usually I'd be fine with a poor assumption to the upside. As a result, the higher tax rate during retirement provides Kate with a higher net return if she contributes to a Roth 401k by about 13%. We should note, though, that this is a snapshot of her projected balances and the tax liability at that time. Since she would likely not liquidate her entire account when she turned 65, the taxes owed in the traditional 401k scenario would vary from what is shown and will be spread out as she makes withdrawals. Walking through the numbers, with a traditional 401k, she contributes $3,000 each year. However, with a Roth 401k, since contributions are made with post-tax dollars, she is able to contribute $2,640. Her balance at 65 years of age is around $795,000 for the traditional 401k and just short of $700,000 for the Roth 401k. The snapshot taxes owed on the traditional 401k are about $175,000. On the Roth 401k, there are no taxes owed going forward, and Kate has paid a little over $15,000 in taxes on the money used for her contributions throughout the years. This results in a net of $620,000 in the traditional 401k and $700,000 in the Roth 401k. The takeaway here is that generally, earlier in one's career is where you want to contribute to a Roth 401k because you'll be in a lower tax bracket and you'll likely be in a higher tax bracket during retirement. Now let's move over to situation 2, where Joseph is 45 years of age and in the 24% marginal tax bracket. Joseph also expects to retire at 65 years of age in the same marginal tax bracket. He is able to contribute $6,000 pre-tax per year, and again we'll assume a 7% compounded annual growth rate. In this case, because of the assumptions made, there is no difference in the net value. Again, this is a snapshot, and considering that he would likely not liquidate the accounts when he turns 65, we'd have to consider his withdrawal rate to have a better idea of which 401k would be the better option. Walking through the numbers, with a traditional 401k, Joseph contributes $6,000 each year. With a Roth 401k, he is able to contribute $4,560. His balance at 65 years of age is about $260,000 for the traditional 401k and about $200,000 for the Roth 401k. The snapshot taxes owed on the traditional 401k are around $63,000. On the Roth 401k, Joseph has paid a little under $30,000 in taxes on the money used for his contributions throughout the years. This results in a net of about $200,000 for both the traditional and the Roth 401k. The takeaway here is that the net value of the account may not really be different between the two if you're not expecting to change your marginal tax rate in retirement. But other considerations should be made, such as RMDs or your withdrawal rate. Last but not least, let's take a look at Amy's situation. Amy is 55 years of age and has a marginal tax rate of 22%. She is planning to retire at 65 years of age, and because Amy will be retiring in a very low cost of living area with a paid-off house, she expects to be in the 12% marginal tax rate. She has $8,000 in pre-tax funds available to contribute each year, and again, we'll assume a 7% compounded annual growth rate. Amy will have a significantly lower tax rate during retirement, resulting in the traditional 401k providing a net value of about 13% higher than that for the Roth 401k. Going through the numbers, she is able to contribute $8,000 to the traditional 401k or $6,240 to a Roth 401k. Her balance at 65 years of age is $118,000 for the traditional 401k and $92,000 for the Roth 401k. The snapshot taxes owed on the traditional 401k are about $14,000. On the Roth 401k, Amy has paid over $17,000 in taxes on the money used for contributions throughout the years. This results in a net of $104,000 for the traditional 401k and $92,000 in the Roth 401k. So the takeaway here is that if you are currently in a higher tax bracket than you expect to be in during retirement, a traditional 401k may be the better option. So what are some considerations for a 401k? The first is if your employer provides a match. We treat this as our highest investment priority at the Commonwealth for reasons already explained. What is your current tax bracket, and which tax bracket are you expecting to be in during retirement? As the hypothetical situations showed, these numbers will play an important role in your account. Something to note though is that the tax brackets do change, and it could be difficult to predict which bracket you'll fall into during retirement. So utilizing both the traditional and Roth 401k would be a way to diversify your tax liability. Do you think you'll need access to the money before you turn 59 and a half years of age? You might expect to have high healthcare costs before then, and if you do, there are better options than a 401k for that. We'll be making a video about health savings accounts, or HSAs, that would be a better alternative. So at the end of these videos, I'll be sharing the approach that we're taking here at the Commonwealth. As it relates to the 401k, or retirement in general, we max out the employer match as our top priority. I know I've said this multiple times in this video, but that's just how important it is to us. After that, we max out our Roth IRA and HSA. We'll go into more detail on why in their respective videos, but in short, it's because of diversifying our tax advantages and our tax liabilities. Quick note about HSAs though, you might or might not be able to contribute to one depending on your health insurance plan. Finally, if we have money left over, we'll make further contributions to our 401k. That's all we have in this video for the 401k. If you found the information to be helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions, or if you would like us to make a video to cover a different topic, feel free to leave that in the comments. Thank you.